A paycheck isn't just money. It's a reflection of how people live, think, and handle control over their financial life. Every month, millions of people wait for payday as if it's salvation, the moment where they feel rich for a few hours before that same money evaporates into bills, expenses, and debts. Every person who earns money goes through phases, not just career phases, but paycheck phases. These phases determine how you handle income, what your financial future looks like, and whether your paycheck controls your life or funds your freedom. Most people stay stuck in one phase for years without realizing there are levels beyond just earning. Because a paycheck doesn't define success, how you treat it does. And these phases of paycheck reveal whether you'll stay stuck in survival mode or rise into financial freedom. So let's go through every phase of a paycheck in detail, from the moment you start earning to the moment your money starts earning for you. Phase 1. The anticipation phase. The first phase begins before payday even arrives. It's the waiting game, that anxious countdown to the day the bank account finally sees movement. For many, this anticipation comes with stress, overthinking, and calculations of what's left unpaid, what can be bought, and what must be delayed. During this phase, the paycheck holds symbolic power. It represents relief, the end of waiting, the temporary escape from financial pressure. But this anticipation also exposes financial dependence. When you can't function normally until your paycheck hits, it means money controls you, not the other way around. People often spend this phase planning in their heads what they'll buy, what debts they'll pay, and what little luxuries they'll finally allow themselves. But these mental promises rarely match what actually happens next, because anticipation without financial planning only builds emotional attachment, not financial clarity. Financially aware individuals use this anticipation phase differently. They plan deliberately. They don't wait to see what's left. They already know where every dollar is going. They've created a budget that assigns every dollar a purpose before it even arrives. Anticipation becomes strategy, not anxiety. Phase 2. The deduction phase. Before you even touch your paycheck, the system already has taxes, Social Security, insurance, retirement contributions. These are the visible deductions. But there are invisible deductions too, lifestyle costs that silently grow over time, subscription renewals, auto payments, hidden fees, impulsive app purchases, convenience charges. This is the phase where people realize that their gross income isn't their real income. You might think you're earning $3,000 a month, but after deductions and taxes, your real take-home might be closer to $2,200. That's not an accident. It's part of a financial structure designed to take money before you ever see it. Now, wealthy people use this same principle, but in their favor. They create automatic deductions for their future. They pay themselves first, before paying bills, taxes, or entertainment. They automate savings, investments, and business reinvestment the moment income arrives. Most people let the system deduct for others. The wealthy create a system that deducts for themselves. This is the phase where awareness changes everything. You can't grow what you don't see. And until you track every deduction, visible and invisible, you'll never truly know how much control you have over your money. Phase 3. The arrival phase. This is the dopamine phase. The bank notification hits, your balance spikes, and suddenly everything feels lighter. This is where most people mentally transition from scarcity to abundance, even if nothing in their financial reality has truly changed. Payday is not just a financial event, it's an emotional one. But this phase is also where financial mistakes are born, because when people feel relief, they loosen control. Payday creates the illusion of wealth, but wealth is not about income, it's about retention. And what happens next determines everything. The arrival of the paycheck should be a moment of structure. It's where you divide your income into clear allocations, not random spending. Financially intelligent people immediately follow a system. Pay yourself first, automate investments, cover essentials, and only then decide what's left for wants. They understand that if you don't tell your paycheck where to go, it will decide for you. And usually, that decision leads to regret. This phase should last only long enough for you to direct your money, not emotionally react to it. If you celebrate payday by spending before saving, you've already reversed your financial growth. The real winners celebrate by transferring part of that paycheck into investments, savings, and opportunities that multiply. Payday is not for celebration, it's for allocation. Phase 4. The spending phase. This is where reality hits. For most people, the paycheck begins disappearing almost as soon as it arrives. Rent, bills, groceries, transportation, every dollar has somewhere to go. But what separates the broke from the wealthy mindset is what's prioritized here. Many people spend unconsciously, driven by emotion, convenience, or habit. The spending phase is where the paycheck truly reveals who you are financially. Because every purchase is a statement of values. Are you buying things that maintain your lifestyle or things that improve your future? Financially disciplined people understand controlled spending. They differentiate between needs, wants, and growth. Needs are obligations, survival essentials. Wants are desires. They should be moderated, not denied. And growth, that's where financial transformation happens. Money spent on skills, investments, or assets that increase future income. In this phase, emotional awareness is key. The average person spends to feel good, to reward themselves after waiting weeks. But emotional spending only delays freedom. The spending phase must evolve from reaction to intention. You don't spend because you got paid. You spend because it aligns with your priorities and financial roadmap. Phase 5. The obligation phase. Once the excitement fades, the obligations take over. Rent due, debt payments, utilities, loans, subscriptions, and other recurring costs. This phase feels heavy because it exposes the truth about how much of your paycheck doesn't actually belong to you. This phase is where many people realize how trapped they are, working not for freedom, but for maintenance. The majority of people spend 60 to 80% of their paycheck servicing obligations from their past, not funding goals for their future. The wealthy treat this phase differently. They minimize obligations over time. They pay off high-interest debt early, negotiate bills, avoid unnecessary recurring expenses, and structure their lives so fewer people have claims on their income. They know that every automatic deduction, every subscription, every loan is another person profiting off their labor. To escape the cycle, you must reduce dependency and reclaim ownership over your paycheck. The obligation phase should be a wake-up call. The goal isn't just to pay bills, it's to design a life where bills don't control your income. Financial peace begins when obligations no longer own your money. Phase 6. The relief phase. Once the bills are paid, there's a short-lived sense of relief. You feel stable again, like you've done your duties and survived another month. But this phase is deceptive, because while it feels like progress, it's often just survival disguised as stability. Relief without growth is stagnation. Many people confuse not being broke with being financially safe. But financial safety doesn't come from paying your bills. It comes from building assets that pay you. The relief phase is where you should shift your mindset from survival to scaling. Ask yourself, what percentage of your paycheck went into something that can grow, something that can generate passive income, build equity, or increase in value over time? If that number is 0, then every month you're repeating the same financial treadmill. The relief phase should transition into strategy. Instead of relaxing after paying bills, this is where the wealthy ask, How do I make my paycheck pay me next month? That's where the next phase begins, the allocation phase. Phase 7, the allocation phase. This phase separates the financially free from the financially trapped. After obligations are met, how you allocate the remainder defines your entire financial trajectory. The rich and wealthy who are financially literate see every dollar as a worker. It either sits idle, gets wasted, or earns returns. This phase is the turning point where financial control begins to take shape and where your paycheck stops being a temporary fix and starts becoming a financial weapon. After the bills are paid and obligations are met, the way you divide what's left determines whether you'll build wealth or stay trapped in survival mode. Allocation isn't just about budgeting. It's about assigning every dollar a specific purpose before emotion decides for you. In this phase, your money becomes organized into categories that align with your priorities: essentials for living, savings for protection, investments for growth, education for skill expansion, and enjoyment for balance. Every paycheck must reflect your values and your goals. When you fail to allocate, you react, but when you allocate, you command. Financially disciplined people treat their income like a workforce. Every dollar gets a job and none are left idle. The key mindset in the allocation phase is intentionality. Most people make the mistake of spending first and saving what's left, which is why there's never anything left to save. The wealthy do the opposite. They pay themselves first through automatic savings and investments, then live on what remains. This habit is what transforms income into wealth over time, and that's why allocation is about direction. It ensures that every paycheck contributes to your future rather than being consumed by the present. When allocation becomes routine, your financial growth becomes inevitable. It's the moment where you stop wondering where your money went and start telling it where to go, the moment your paycheck begins working for you instead of the other way around. Also, allocation builds control. When your paycheck has a mission, every month becomes progress instead of repetition. Most people fail here because they spend first, then save what's left, which is almost always nothing. But those who build wealth reverse it. They invest and save first, then spend what's left. That's not discipline. It's automation of priorities. Phase 8. The delay phase. Between receiving your paycheck and receiving your next one, there's a period that reveals everything about your discipline. It's where you decide whether your paycheck will stretch or shrink. Financially strong people don't rush to spend. They delay gratification. They know that patience builds wealth because the longer money stays with you, the more opportunities it creates. This delay phase is about resisting the instant reward trap. When you learn to delay unnecessary spending for even a few days, you gain control over your impulses, and that control compounds into long-term wealth. Most people spend because they fear missing out. But the truth is, the things you rush to buy are rarely the things that change your life. It's the money you keep and redirect that eventually gives you the freedom to buy what you want without stress. That's why this phase builds financial muscle. Every day you delay emotional spending, you grow stronger financially and psychologically. Phase 9. The transition phase. This is the turning point where your relationship with money changes. Once you've learned to control your spending and allocate strategically, the paycheck stops being a source of anxiety and becomes a tool for creation. This phase involves restructuring how your paycheck flows. Instead of passing through your hands and disappearing, you redirect it into systems that grow your wealth automatically. Direct deposits can feed into investment accounts, savings goals, and business ventures before you even see the leftover amount. It's when you actively move your money from income to investment, from cash to assets, from accounts to opportunities. As wealth isn't stored in paychecks, it's transferred into vehicles that grow it, and those vehicles are your investments, your savings accounts, your business ideas, and your skill development, the things that multiply over time. If you keep your money static, it dies slowly. Inflation, fees, and lifestyle expenses eat away at it. But when you transfer your paycheck strategically, you convert temporary income into long-term wealth. You're no longer dependent on your paycheck to survive because part of it is building new income streams. This is where people begin breaking the paycheck to paycheck cycle, when the paycheck becomes fuel, not a crutch. The transition phase is where financial power begins to take form, the ability to choose, to delay gratification, and build future leverage. The rule here is simple. Never let your paycheck stay idle. Every month, decide exactly where every dollar goes, and if your money doesn't have a plan, someone else's system will take it. Phase 10. The growth phase. The growth phase is where compounding begins, both financially and psychologically. You've mastered control, minimized waste, and established investment flow. Now, your paycheck begins multiplying itself through consistent reinvestment. In this phase, your goal is to use your paycheck to buy time and assets. Every dollar that doesn't need to be spent should be working somewhere, in stocks, index funds, business ventures, or skill development. The growth phase isn't just about financial return, it's about breaking your dependency on one stream of income. Because no one becomes wealthy relying on a single paycheck. Multiple streams of income protect you from instability and accelerate freedom. This phase also changes your mindset about lifestyle. Instead of upgrading spending when income increases, you upgrade investments. Every raise becomes an opportunity to scale your assets faster. This is how the wealthy widen their gap. They expand the income gap between earnings and expenses and use that margin to grow exponentially. Phase 11. The mastery and wealth reversal phase. Mastery is about controlling more. At this phase, you've built systems. Your paycheck flows into savings, investments, and expenses automatically. You know exactly where your money goes and why. This is where financial peace begins. You're no longer reacting to money, you're directing it. You've learned the patterns, how money behaves, how you behave, and how to align both to serve your goals. Most people never reach this phase because they stay stuck reacting to each paycheck instead of mastering it. But once you reach mastery, your money no longer controls your emotions, you control your money's motion. Eventually, the paycheck shifts from something you depend on to something optional. This is the wealth reversal, when your investments, dividends, or businesses start paying you more than your job. You've reversed the paycheck cycle. You now own your time. This is where the meaning of a paycheck changes. It's no longer your lifeline, it's just another income source. The relief, the anticipation, the anxiety, all those phases disappear because your wealth now sustains your lifestyle without waiting for someone else to deposit it. In this phase, your paycheck becomes a bonus, not a requirement. You can reinvest 100% of it if you want. You can retire, build, donate, or expand. Financial independence isn't just freedom from bills, it's freedom from dependence. This is the phase where financial peace finally exists. The goal of every paycheck you've ever earned was to reach this point, where you no longer work for money because money now works for you. Phase 12. The freedom phase. This is the final and ultimate phase, the point where your survival no longer depends on your next paycheck. You've built enough assets, systems, and streams of income that your lifestyle is sustained even if you stopped working today. This is what most people call financial freedom, but it's deeper than that. It's not just about money, it's also about time. The freedom to do what you want, when you want, without worrying if your card will decline or if your bills will be paid. You've escaped the cycle that traps millions, working endlessly to survive instead of building to thrive. The paycheck was never meant to make you rich. It was meant to give you a foundation to build wealth. Those who treat it as an end will forever chase more. Those who treat it as a beginning will eventually need it no more. Most people never escape the paycheck trap because they confuse income for wealth. A high salary means nothing if expenses rise with it. Many professionals earn six figures yet live paycheck to paycheck because lifestyle inflation eats their growth. Escaping the trap means mastering margin, the gap between what you earn and what you keep. The goal is to widen that gap relentlessly. That margin is the seed of financial freedom. It's the difference between surviving and scaling. The paycheck trap also feeds off routine. People get comfortable with the cycle: work, earn, spend, repeat. But comfort is the enemy of financial freedom. The moment you accept survival as normal, you've surrendered your financial future. So, breaking free means redefining your paycheck as a tool, a weapon against poverty, a builder of assets, and a ticket to independence.